Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Matthews versus mystery opponent. I suppose I'll probably end up titling it Misfits 12 card. And if you are new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this, like always with boxing, Misfits, YouTube events, I always go through the whole card instead of just a main event like I do in normal predictions. So, starting off the first fight I'm going to be talking about, Raksu versus DTG. Of course, we've got both Raksus fighting on this card. For the winner, I'm going to go with DTG. Obviously, he's fought in the past. I believe he's coming off that win versus SX, and SX wasn't really anything impressive as an opponent, but I think he's going to be able to get another win here. I don't really know too much about a lot of these fighters as fighters, so I don't feel like my analysis is going to be amazing, but I think just off experience alone, I'm going to go with DTG victory. Moving on to Knight versus Most Wanted. This Knight person as a fighter, I'm quite intrigued to see him as a fighter. I think he has had quite a lot of boxing experience, and he's had amateur fights or possibly even a professional fight in the past. I don't know fully the whole context of him, but he's been bigged up by the likes of True Geordie, and I'm intrigued to see what he's like fighting, and I think he's going to come in and make a statement here for his Misfits debut. So I think he's not a massive name kind of social media wise, and so most definitely I would like to say that he probably has to come in and put on a good big performance here, and I think against somebody like Most Wanted who's not really had a fight, I don't believe himself, and so I feel like this is definitely an option and a good way for him to come in and create a name for himself. Moving on, Williams versus Batista next. Williams, I believe, I might be wrong, but I think he fought on like something recently. I don't know if this was Williams or if this was somebody else, but I think he fought on like one of them, like Abu Dhabi cards. I don't know their complete context. I might be wrong. But either way, he had that fight, I believe, versus... He was on that Kingpin card, I believe, and he looked solid on that, and I think he does have skills, I think he does have ability, I think he is a solid boxer, and I think he's going to come through Batista with relative ease and manage to get another victory there. And to be fair, he is somebody who could be built in the right way and could end up having some quite good boxing fights if he is, like I said, built in the right way and progressed the right way. I think he does have talent. Moving on to Jay versus Fox the G. Jay is an aggressive fighter, and he's only a little guy, but he's an aggressive fighter, and he's definitely going to come to fight, and I think he does also have ability, and he has speed, and he is strong. And Fox the G, I think he's got ability, but I just don't know if he has that level of aggression that what Jay has, and I think Jay is going to come through and just outbox him and overwhelm him completely and manage to get a dominant victory in that fight. Moving on to Demore versus Minicon, a fight which is a strange fight. Two guys who I can't really say are overly amazingly good boxers, but it's an interesting fight. Demore, in my opinion, isn't a good boxer at all. I think he's improved a little bit from like his first boxing fight and his first appearance on Misfits, and in that last fight versus Tempo Watts, he improved a bit, but I still don't think there's really much to him. I don't think his coordination is amazing, and I don't think he puts anything really into his shots, and he doesn't really look comfortable in there at all. I don't think Minicon looks amazing from what I've seen from him, but I think he's going to be able to come through Demore and manage to get a victory in that fight. Moving on now to Ham versus Not Logan Paul. This is a strange fight. That's not really that intriguing. I don't really think that many people are overly interested in this fight, to be completely honest. I think Not Logan Paul's just gotten that branding because he got slumped by Diaz and on the street, and I don't really know who this Ham person is, to be completely honest, but from what I've seen, he does kind of like gym related stuff, and he's a big guy, big strong guy, and I think he's going to win. Just because they're big, they're strong doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have the coordination and the ability and the technique to come through and win. But when you're also against somebody who hasn't had a boxing fight either, and in my opinion, I don't think he's going to come in and be anything amazing, this Not Logan Paul person, I think that strength is going to end up playing a factor, and he's going to win probably via stoppage. Moving on now to Raksu versus Rose, which is most probably going to be, skilled-wise, probably the best fight on the card, the best fight of the night. Raksu hasn't fought in a little bit. I believe his last fight was against King Kenny. I might be wrong. But that Rose has just come off a very good fight, I believe, on the last Misfits card, or one of the more recent ones against uh, Silver, Anderson Silva's son. I forgot his name. But that was a close fight. He was a very game opponent and really did look like he could have even won at points in that fight. And against somebody like Gabriel Silva, that's impressive, and he really did put on a good showing for himself. And it's good to see him back fighting again. And Raksu, he's a bigger guy, he's a strong guy. He shows that he has ability, and he's going to let his hands go, and he's willing to be the aggressor if necessary. But I think Rose is going to win. I think he's probably going to try and drag Raksu into a fight and into a bit of a brawl type fight. And I just don't know if Raksu's really wanting to do that. I think he's the more comfortable one to be on the front foot himself and impose his size and to let his hands go in that aspect. And I think Rose is going to win that one. Moving on to the co-main event, Bunker versus Brooke 2. It's going to be an interesting fight, I suppose. Brooks coming off, I believe she hasn't fought since the loss versus Pena. Poker, that's the name. But she didn't really look amazing in that fight. I think she's out of the women's boxers in Misfits. She's most definitely one of the better ones. She does come forwards nicely, and she does land clean shots, and she does have power. I don't think Bunker has really much technique. I don't think Brooke has loads of technique, but I think she has the clearer technique out of the two, and she's the one that's going to land better out of the two, and I think that's going to be another recipe for her to get another win versus Bunker and cement herself back as a champion and as a Misfits champion. And I think she's going to win that one. I think it probably will end up being another scrappy fight, but I think she's the one that's going to be able to. She can take a shot, and she's willing to take a shot, and she can kind of just keep coming forwards and keep being the aggressor. And I think that's what she's going to do, and she's going to get a win that way. Moving on to, I suppose, the main event: Matthews versus mystery opponent. By this point, it could have even been announced. I don't know if they're going to announce it at a press conference or if they're going to announce it right on fight night, but I suppose we'll wait and see. Matthews, it's going to be interesting to see him fight again. I was hearing everything about the PBA, possibly kind of searching him and everything for drug taking and things like that. But now the PBA aren't with Misfits, so I don't know if they're even drug testing him properly for this or not, which I hope they are. But I don't know if we're going to actually find that out or not. But either way, I don't think he's amazingly good fighter, Matthews. I don't think his gas tank's amazing. I don't think he's got much really good technique. I think he is just out of a street brawler type fighter who's just going to come in and be in your face for the first round or possibly two, but then that'd be it. So I suppose his opponent, in my opinion, is probably going to have to either do the same thing back to him and give him a shot and see if he can take his power, or just not cover up, is what I would say to any opponent that's going up against Matthews. Just don't cover up, especially early on, because he probably will take a big shot or two. But yeah, other than that, I think there is most definitely a recipe to beat Matthews, because he's not a perfect boxer or anywhere near that. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did indeed like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.